how I discovered truth and learned to see the difference. What is truth? By truth, I mean everything that aligns with the intelligence of nature itself, or the divine, if you will, which is much smarter than even the brightest human mind or AI. Did you know that our brain often accepts something as truth just because it sounds logical? The problem is, the opposite of the truth can also sound logical because it uses the same but completely opposite logic. So how do we know what is really true in a world full of conflicting information? A natural part of being human is our sense of solidarity and our desire to do good for the world. But what if our human feelings of solidarity are misled or used against us under the guise of the greater good, when in reality it is actually harmful? How would we learn to recognize the difference? I have learned through my own painful experiences that the truth we've been taught, particularly the ones we are absolutely convinced of, are often not true at all. As a child, I survived a life-threatening disease called meningitis, which actually sparked my passion to understand the true causes of health and illness. I was so afraid of getting sick again that I followed all the health advice I had learned, word for word. But when I later developed an autoimmune disease, I was forced to question everything. I discovered that many health recommendations, which seemed logical and therefore true, were actually not true at all. By learning to reconnect with and trust the natural truth again, and taking steps to follow nature's intelligence instead of what I had been taught, I didn't just get a little better, I fully healed from all my so-called incurable autoimmune disease symptoms, and in a completely natural way. But how did I find what that natural truth is? I found my answer in what I call the frequency of truth. And this has nothing to do with how logical or convincing something seems to our mind, but everything to do with our gut feeling or intuition. What is that frequency? And how do we feel something belongs to it? Our feelings and intuition are actually key here. Our mind can even see the opposite of the truth as true, especially if we have been taught it from top down from a young age. But what if the people spreading falsehoods label the truth as misinformation? What if they censor or ridicule the truth? Or how can we recognize what is true in a world where AI can make anything that isn't true seem true? Imagine everyone around you following a lie, while your gut feeling tells you something's wrong. Why do you feel that way? I'll explain how I understand it. Everything around us is made up of atoms, which are 99.99999% energy and information. So our bodies are mainly energy and information too. Our emotions or emotions are energy in motion, and that is why we can feel emotions or perceive energy and information with our feelings, which we call a gut feeling. Now the good news is the truth always comes to the surface eventually, because truth has its own unique frequency and our intuition can feel it. But why do we listen to our mind more than to our feelings? First of all, because we are brought up from top down or programmed to do that. And secondly, the answer is, just like I blindly followed health guidelines out of fear, in my case, fear of getting sick again. When we are afraid, we actually turn off our feelings if they become too overwhelming. Our brain takes over, only following what seems logical. For example, we may accept something as true just because we have seen it in the media, and then we assume it's logical and therefore true, focusing all of our energy only on survival. Modern distractions like phones, like work and television also keep us constantly in our heads, making it harder to stop and listen to our feelings. This causes us to lose touch with our gut feeling, our intuition, and thus the truth in line with nature's intelligence. Our fear also grows when we are laughed at or pressured for feeling or thinking differently than the majority. And this can make us block our own truth and stop trusting our own intuition, which actually never lies. Also, repeating false messages programs us to accept them blindly as truth, especially through media. In a scenario where convincing but fake images and stories are used to mislead and manipulate us into believing into something what is actually harmful to us, then reconnecting with our feelings or intuition is actually the antidote to that manipulation. Natural truth is always confirmed with real results. It only works when it aligns with the way nature's intelligence meant it to be. Regardless of our opinions, everything else, no matter how beautifully or ingeniously presented, is, in my view, untruth. Now, this insight in how I fully healed motivated me to discover more about things we might have been wrongly programmed in the opposite direction. Now, if truth in line with nature as natural health, the best, most loving version of ourselves, beyond our own fear and pain, as freedom and immune to deception and manipulation speaks to you too, then subscribe to this channel and share this message. What exactly spoke to you about this video? And what other topics would you like to see videos about? Feel free to let me know below. I am curious. Together, we can actually awaken more intuition or frequency of truth, and not by fighting deception or falsehoods, but simply by not trading our soul, our health or freedom for beautifully packaged illusions that lead us in the opposite direction. I will see you in the next video.